Today on the Idiot's Guide, we are talking about fat-free, low-fat, diet this or that. Does any of it really matter, or are they just fat-shaming us into buying unhealthy products? And it's all fun and games until your name is actually Barbie Oppenheimer. I'm your host, Adam Richardson, a.k.a. the Profit Hacker, and I'm joined by the man in charge, Mr. Joe Haslam. Welcome to the Idiot's Guide. So I have this confession I want to start this episode off in, and it is the fact that I feel like I should admit that I've tried all sorts of different things, and I continue to be not in shape, but more of a shape. and that's just been my hurdle for a number of years. I've got a very, very well invested dad bod. And I've also heard it called, because it's a podcast, a pod bod. That's another one.
There you go.
Yeah. I like to think that I don't have a face for radio, and maybe I could have some public appearance, but I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But, you know, a lot of what I deal with is I've done, detox diets where you're eliminating things, or elimination. A lot of times that's for like determining things you have food allergies with and whatnot. I've done keto. I mean, years ago I did, the Atkins diet, where you're just a carnivore and you just eat things and smell like a T-Rex all the time. Yeah. And, it has its benefits, but it also has some really negative impacts to your body. Mm-hmm. And then you hear the gurus now, like there's trending. They're like, well, all that stuff, just throw it out the door and just eat what you want, but make sure it's within moderation. I was like, well, what if it's just ice cream? Then I can't, there's not enough nutritional value in it. So I'm stuck in this place where I'm like, man, I love pasta, but pasta doesn't love me. And so I like, how do you navigate that road and not just torture yourself? Or, my wife had another one the other day she sent me, and she's like, it's this list of all this stuff that you can't have. And I was like, oh, cool. It's the starvation diet, because all you can basically have is celery. That's it. Celery. There you go, guys.
Well, and even celery is not healthy for you on its own.
True.
And that's an important factor to look at. So there's a lot about health out there, and neither of us are nutritionists. Now, surprisingly, did you know that nutritionist is not actually a protected word? So anyone can actually call themselves a nutritionist.
Oh, I'm there for it. Hey guys, AKA the nutritionist now going forward. So,
but yeah, nutritionist is not a licensed or protected word. Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, which is extremely dangerous. Now, dietitian, that is a separate term that is protected. So you can only call yourself a dietitian if you've gone through the schooling and the licensing to be called a dietitian, which takes a lot of schooling and a lot of extra work for licensing. So whenever you go online and you see this has been reviewed by a nutritionist, that could be some schmo off the street that decided to call themselves a nutritionist so to make money online.
No offense to anyone named Schmo. I'm just saying.
Hey, I get Joe Schmo all the time. I mean, come on. If anyone's allowed to use Schmo, it's me. Now, to look at us, at either of us, we definitely have the dad bods or the pod bods.
Yeah.
But this idea that you have to be skinny to be healthy, and that if you are skinny, you're healthy, is a really dangerous idea. Because health has nothing to do with your physical size. And there are people who are extremely skinny. There was a commercial from many years ago talking about, I think, cholesterol. And it showed two guys in the gym, like twins, or I don't know if it was like a dual screen or something like that, but they looked exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And, in the gym, looking fit, and it showed cholesterol for one of them at way too high, 300s, and cholesterol for the other one in the 100 range. And so the idea is you can look good, but be completely unhealthy on the inside. And you can have a dad bod and be completely healthy. And so personally, I strive to be a very healthy individual. Unfortunately, I think I've talked about this 10 years or so ago, I started developing a lot of health problems that caused me to end up gaining more weight, which is unfortunate. Now I've got osteoarthritis.
I have 3 problems that have caused me to gain more weight. And one is 15 years old, and the other is about to be 13 and a 7-year-old. So, I mean, I don't want to give them all the credit, but they're definitely an inspiration.
There you go. Yeah, I can't quite use that excuse. But yeah, I've got, and interestingly, so I have a endocrinologist, I have a gastroenterologist, I have a whole slew of doctors that I actually see to make sure I maintain a good, healthy body and eat right, manage my diet, manage my exercise as much as I can with, some of the health problems I have. I've got runner's knee. I've got, from a lot of the exercise I've done over the years, I kind of screwed myself over at this point. But one thing that, we discovered, now most people, their cycle for weight gain and weight loss, because we always have cycles in our weight gain and weight loss or weight levels throughout the year. Most people will lose weight in the summer because they're more active.
Yeah.
Gain weight in the winter because they're less active. You've got the holidays and things like that. I actually have the exact opposite.
Really?
Yep. And when I get a new doctor, so I got a new primary care doctor provider a couple months ago, and I showed him the charts. He just looked at it and looked at me in that weird way. What? I've never seen this before. And it's to the point where my body just reacts differently too because of hormones and different issues within my body. People just have different things. So I actually gain on average about 10 pounds in the summer, even though I am much more active in the summer. And it's not from muscle gain. It's actually inches around the waist where I gain a lot of it. So I'm actually producing more fat around the middle. And then come winter, when, we've got Thanksgiving, and I don't skimp on my Thanksgivings. We've got Christmas. I bake all my own goodies for Christmas. And so I actually lose 10 pounds from the summer highs into winter. And so the idea of weight being somehow tied to health is a really bad idea, especially if you've got other factors that go into it.
I just think it's just not completely honest. And I think that's really what it is you have to realize that most people or most businesses, they're not there to try to help you lose weight. They're trying to get you to buy their product. Like that is capitalism at its definition. And realizing that, it doesn't matter what you do. The more things that you can slap a label on to get more consumers to consume it, they're going to do everything they can. So it's like just minor adjustments. If that qualifies as, to be allowed to put some label on there, like it's the gluten-free stuff. Like this is gluten-free, this is gluten-free, this is gluten-free, everything's gluten-free. Why? Because everyone has a gluten allergy now. And it's like, we should have the gluten diet where you're like, and like, I'm not saying that to minimize what like celiac disease and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like those are real things, but what companies have done is capitalized on a fad and created more of a popular thing to create a demand, but it's a false image of what it truly is.
Right. Yeah. And my son-in-law actually has, it's Crohn's or celiac. I can't remember which one it is. And so he has to be very careful about what he eats.
Yeah.
And it's to the point of, he really has this condition and he has to be really careful. But everyone else has co-opted this idea of, it's healthy lifestyle or whatever. And he will attest it's not a healthy lifestyle.
No, it's brutally it's brutal to your body. Like
is.
it is very hurtful, and you don't wish that on anybody. So you're like, oh, cool, I'm gonna get this. I'm starting this new diet that's going to annihilate my organs. It's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. So we're gonna get into some of these things, but this co-opting of legitimate medical conditions to be a fad position isn't just with food. So genetically, my family has an allergy to metals, and so we're allergic to nickel. We're allergic to, these are the ones that we know of, titanium and zinc. So those are the ones that my dad's allergic to. I'm allergic to. We don't know which ones my grandmother was allergic to. We just know she had the same condition. And so the reason we know this is because we get this skin condition on our fingers that literally takes away our fingerprints. And so it is like leprosy on the fingertips. It's crazy. And so I suffered with it for a long time until I realized, oh, nickel is a new one, because I knew zinc, I knew titanium. But nickel was a new one that is now more common in everything that we do. And so once I realized it was from the nickel, okay, now I can, protect myself from the nickel, and I'm much better now. But my first experience with this, Selsun Blue, which is a shampoo, has zinc in it. So my parents always bought the cheapest shampoo. Obviously, they had a lot of kids, so you buy the cheap shampoo. So when I finally had a job, 16 years old, I decided I don't want the cheap shampoo anymore. I want to get the good stuff. So I went out and bought myself some Selsun Blue. And I put it on my hair. I got a rash so bad. It was insane. So I was looking through everything. What's the difference? What's it? Zinc.
I have, my wife is like certain medical or metals, she has a reaction to, like for earrings and things like that she wears, or even rings on her finger, like have to be a certain kind of metal, because otherwise her body will react to it. Me personally, my experience, I haven't recognized anything like metal wearing, like jewelry, but one of the things, I guess this is common, you can actually build up to this, but deodorant. When it's not deodorant and it says antiperspirant, the reason why is because there's an aluminum that they add to it that's designed to basically stop your pores from being pores. Yeah. So you're coating your armpits with a chemical metal that will fill in the pores and could cause infection. My skin reacted like terribly, like the worst. It was interesting because once I transitioned to just using deodorant, I mean, this was probably 12 years ago when I went through that drama. But literally, like, it was, once I moved over to just deodorant, I've used the same deodorant since. Usually they're like, oh, you got to rotate it because you'll build up a tolerance with this one, and you should try this. So all of them are trying to, again, market, to push. So you buy. At the end of the day, they have no concern of what they're doing and what what kind of chemicals they're adding to create the benefit. And so going all natural. Now, I'm not the crystal deodorant guy, but I use a natural deodorant that has worked, and I haven't changed it in years.
Yeah. And as coming from someone who has an actual metal allergy, aluminum in certain quantities causes a problem. So I have to wear antiperspirant because I am extremely sweaty person. And I've got an odd condition that causes me to sweat at cooler temperatures. So if it's below 68 or 70 degrees in a room, that's when I start to sweat.
Really?
Yeah. So at times I'll have to have a heater literally next to me because it gets too cold and I start to sweat. So I have the heater next to me so that I stop sweating. So I have to use an antiperspirant. And it's so hard when they change the makeup of an antiperspirant that I've used for so long, because I find ones that have the right proportions that don't give me a rash or don't give me a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they change it and either increase it or do whatever in the chemical makeup, then it starts causing me some problems. And then I have to go through the whole process and find myself a new antiperspirant. But this is, and now in the alternative health world, you do all these chelation things. Oh, any type of metal is going to be a poison to your body and this and that. And it's like, no, you're just stealing what is an actual medical condition for people who suffer, and you are co-opting it for your own financial benefit.
I think one of the things that you mentioned was the right balance. And that kind of brings us back to what our conversation is today. And it's not about following this fad or following a trend or starving yourself or, causing organ failure because you're trying to do something weird or exotic about what you're doing. And, I don't want to say that there's nothing good out there, that there's no benefits from any of those things that are out there and different options. But the reality is it's the balance. It's the balance of what you're doing, whether that's a little bit of exercise to what you're eating, and even in just simply what you're consuming. Is it balanced in your consumption, so that you're not just like, man, I had a heavy carb day. And when I say heavy carb day, the whole loaf of bread, okay? And you're like, wow, that is that is a lot of carbs. So,
yeah. Well, and most people will look at quote unquote diet foods as low calorie. Okay. So you think low calorie foods. Okay. If I only eat, 1,500 calories today, I'm going to be good. Well, but where did those calories come from? Did they come from fat?
Yeah.
Did they come from carbs? Did they come from protein? Each one of those things provide a different benefit to your body. Now, more recently, some of these health food things have little charts on them that show of all the calories, 50% is coming from protein, 30% is coming from carbs, 20% is coming from fat.
I loved it when fast food kind of went through that, when they did that movie Super Size Me, and all of a sudden that guy was like, yeah, if you don't eat a real meal, you're going to die in the next 36 hours, And he's like, oh, okay. All right, I better stop, yeah, I'll supersize me. Yeah. This is a real meal this time. Yeah. But the problem is like what that made aware in the industry is how little they were disclosing the potentially hazardous things that they were selling people, like everyday meals. Like, this is delicious, supersize, great, sounds like the biggest meal I've had all day, and then what? And so I think, having the ability or required to disclose that was a good move. However,
having nutrition facts is great, but we're still only looking at calories.
Right.
You look at, okay, this is how many calories I'm allowed to eat that day. Okay, what does that mean, calories?
Almost every menu item on everything. If you go online and you're like, wow, this has that many calories, you're like, what? But what about, like, is there anything else in this besides just a bowl of calories? Doesn't sound like a really good restaurant,
And we talk about calories. Do you know where calories come from?
No.
Okay. So calories.
I could say carbohydrates. I can tell you that. Protein, got that fiber, but calories?
Fiber doesn't produce calories.
Well,
fiber moves through our body because we don't digest it.
Right.
And so when we talk about calories, it's how much energy is burned in each of these components. Okay. And so they're actually kilocalories. Not just calories. So we shorten it to calories, but they're actually kilocalories. So it's 1,000 calories, and it produces this. I didn't do the research on this. I know this from other stuff, so I'm probably going to be wrong with this, but I believe every kilocalorie produces 1 joule of energy, or there's some relationship there between joules of energy and calories. And that's how they determine what a calorie is. Okay. And how much calories food has. So, fact, do you know how many calories a gram of fat produces?
No, Joe. Why don't you tell me?
We had this conversation before. I'm just, got to make it new and exciting.
Ooh.
So it produces 1 gram of fat will produce 9 calories. Okay.
Okay.
Carbs. How many calories are produced with 1 gram of carbs?
I have no idea.
4.
1 gram or milligram?
1 gram. 1 gram of carbohydrates. So
Yeah.
the different ones, we'll get into the other categories of nutrients in food, but the main 3 are all grams.
Okay.
So it's grams of fat, grams of carbs, and grams of protein.
Okay.
So do you know how much calories are produced by 1 gram of protein?
No.
4.
4.
And so when you're looking at these low calorie foods, well, that doesn't tell you anything about the makeup. It could be a low calorie food, but have absolutely no carbs and no protein and be all fat. And so if they've got a serving size of a stick of butter at, 1 tablespoon of butter and advertise that as low calorie, well, yeah, it's low calorie, but it's all fat.
True.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is you're not looking at the composition of the other factors that go into that calorie. And so we have nutritional guidelines. So now, whether these are perfectly right or not, there's some variation that's allowed in here. But in general, for a 2,000 calorie diet, which is the average person, if you're a very active person, you want more than 2,000. Which even makes it even more complicated.
Yeah.
If you are trying to lose weight or exercise out more calories than you take in, you'll want less than 2,000. Or if you're a small person. So my wife she claims she's 5 foot. She's 4'11".
Okay.
And so for someone like her versus someone who's 6 foot, she doesn't need 2,000 calories a day.
Right.
She needs less than that. So 2,000 calories, that's what we're going to base this on. But the math that we're going to get into, it doesn't matter how many calories you take in a day because it's all relational. But with that, 78 grams of fat, 300 milligrams of cholesterol, 2,300 milligrams of sodium, 270 grams of carbs, 28 grams of dietary fiber, no more than 50 grams of sugar a day, and 50 grams of protein.
Huh.
So those are the nutritional recommendations for an average healthy person. And you can see how they relate. So you're getting most of your food most of your calories from carbs. So they recommend anywhere from 45 to 65% in carbs. It is 15 to 35 in fat and 25 to 35 in protein. So more they're averaging that out into those different components. For each person, it's going to be different. Okay. My brother also has a medical problem that his body doesn't break down foods like normal. And so his body treats fats like carbs and carbs like fat. And so his body functions just a little bit differently. So he was trying to lose weight for years and, trying every diet. Well, once they did a lot of studies, a lot of tests on his metabolism, they realized that you need to eat more fat.
Yeah.
So he started eating fat and he dropped like 150 pounds by eating fat. You wouldn't think that.
Well, I think about like when I was in keto, keto kind of works off that principle. It's surprising that, you can really consume a tremendous amount of fat.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just to solely eat fat. So you shouldn't just be like tub of lard, let's do it. One, he's super sick, but like the difference between like the normal diet to what you can consume in that state of ketosis in just regarding fat is insane.
Yeah. It's all about balance. And so the most important thing is when you're looking at something, if it's healthy, you want to actually analyze it not based just on calories or
Right.
just on fat or even just on protein. Let's say you're on a high protein diet. Well, how many carbs are in that high protein food? You want to look at the percentages of how each of those items relate. And so when you're looking at fat, okay, so you take any food item, and this is why it doesn't really matter how many, it doesn't matter if you're looking at the serving size on any of these foods. So fat, you take the total number of calories and multiply it in that food, you multiply it by 0.039.
Hmm.
So 78 grams of fat is 3.9% of 2,000 calories.
Okay.
And it's that easy. And so now you know. So I've got a couple of things on here. So a blueberry muffin. So a blueberry muffin, an average blueberry muffin is 450 calories.
Okay.
And so you multiply 450 by 0.39 and you get 18. 18 grams of fat is the maximum amount that you should have on 450 calories. Well, that blueberry muffin actually has 21 grams of fat. So that blueberry muffin that you think you're eating healthy is actually containing 3 more grams of fat, which is about 5% or 15%. Yeah, 15% greater than the maximum amount you should be having for those calories that you're intaking.
I think one of the other things that you have to mention, and maybe this is part of why that fat is maybe a higher, I don't know, this is beyond my brain capacity, but where I went when you said, "Oh, it contains more fat," is fat in and of itself isn't always good because like
Right.
particular fats are actually really, really bad for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I think of a blueberry muffin, my brain does not think of good fats.
No, because it's butter.
Right.
You think of good fats. Good fats are things that have high amounts of omega fatty 3, fatty 6 acids.
Right.
And you're going to find that in avocado. You're going to find that in olive oil.
What is the medium MCT oil, like
Yeah.
coconut oil stuff?
Yeah. And so you're going to find, so in those instances, you still don't want to go high in fat.
Yeah.
You still want to keep your fats to those right levels, but it's even worse if it's a bad fat. So not only do you have more fat in that blueberry muffin, but it's more bad fat. And a lot of people eat these blueberry muffins thinking, I'm being healthy. And they're not. They're bringing in a lot more fat than they should. The next one,
like an exchange with my wife. What did you do today? I'm more bad fat. I just...
cholesterol is the next one. So 300 milligrams of cholesterol a day. So that's 0.15. So you multiply whatever calories by 0.15, and that gives you the amount of cholesterol that you should have. That blueberry muffin, you should have no more than 68 milligrams of cholesterol for 450 calories. Well, that blueberry muffin had 70. And that's from the eggs.
Yeah.
Next one is sodium. So sodium, you can actually have more than you have of calories. So
Okay.
2,300 milligrams of sodium is the recommended amount. Now, we need sodium to live. But if we have too much sodium, we run into problems. Too little sodium, we also run into problems. So you want to balance that out. But so you take the number of calories times 1.15. Okay. And so that blueberry muffin, 450 calories, you can get up to 518 milligrams of sodium and be good. And that blueberry muffin has 370. So it's a low sodium food.
Yeah.
Great. Low sodium, but it's high in fat and high in cholesterol.
Oh.
So the next one is carbohydrates. So I'm going to go through each of these so the listener knows what these numbers are. Carbohydrates is 275, so it's 0.1375. Dietary fiber is 28 per day, so it's 0.014. Sugar is 50 grams a day, so that's 0.025. Protein, also 50 grams a day, so that's also 0.025. So if we finish out this blueberry muffin, so carbohydrates, the maximum amount that you should have for 450 calories is 62. That blueberry muffin comes in at 60. So actually really good. Not too low, not over the limit. So we're good there. Dietary fiber. Now this one's opposite. So you don't want to go below this number. Okay. So that dietary fiber is 6. So for 450 calories, you should have 6 grams of dietary fiber. That blueberry muffin has 1. Now, dietary fiber, I kind of give a little bit of leeway to because you can supplement with dietary fiber supplements, get a Metamucil thing, and you're generally pretty good. But if you can get it through your diet, it's that much better. And then the last one here is protein. So you should have at minimum 11 grams of protein for 450 calories. That blueberry muffin has 5. 5 grams of protein. So half as much as it should. And you can see how the components mix there in that it had too much fat, and that fat took away your protein. Because it's producing the same amount of, or you've got those calories, fat produces a little more than 2 times the amount of calories than protein.
So I imagine that this is not something you learn in math class. There's a lot of math involved in this.
Yes.
So for the non-mathing people, are they just stuck, or are we just stuck with, you know, I mean, I better not say that. Honestly, I'm a very big mather, you know, so.
The easiest way, I'm going to tell you the easiest way to figure out if you're just looking at that nutrition.
I want to
label,
advocate for the non-mathers. Okay.
Now we've got a lot of items on here that we're going to go over, but if you're just looking at a nutrition label and you need to know, is this healthy for me? Now, again, you could be on 2,500 calories a day. You could be on 4,000 calories a day. This same method works. It doesn't matter. Okay. All you're going to do is you're going to take the total number of calories in that product, divide it into 2,000. So let's say it's a 200 calorie pack of cookies. Okay. So that's going to come out to 10%. So 200 divided by 2,000, 10%.
Okay.
Okay. And then you look through and that DV percent is on all of these items. Anything that's over 10% for fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates, and sugar, or under 10% for fiber and protein, means it's not healthy.
Okay.
Now, I generally say if it's of these 7 categories, if you got at least 2 in the healthy range, then, or in the unhealthy range, it's a good. So you need at least 5 in the healthy range because you can make up for it with other foods later. So if you get a food that's maybe a little high in fat, just find something that's going to be a little bit lower in fat later if those are the only ones that are off. Because you can figure out 1 or 2 of those nutrient items,
right,
to be able to adjust later. If it's 5 of them, it's going to be much harder to figure out what am I going to eat later if 5 of these 7 are all unhealthy. And so if you look at that pack of cookies, so I've got we just recently restocked our break room. And so we've got Chips Ahoy cookies now. So I actually did this. So Chips Ahoy cookies, they're actually 100 calories. Okay. And so of those,
is there 2 servings per package?
No, 1.
Okay, good.
Again, it doesn't matter. The serving size doesn't matter because you're looking at what are these percentages right?
Okay.
And so again, it doesn't matter if you're looking at a way too minuscule serving size, which is what they do to try to make it low cal or low fat. Yeah, this is a cookie, but you can only eat 1/4 of this cookie, and that's healthy. No. So yeah.
Tip over because you're out of energy.
Exactly. So these cookie packs, 100 calories. I didn't get them because they were low fat. I was looking for something that was good, tasty in the office.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that matters too.
And easy to, take around. But anyway, so fat was over by 1 gram per little pack of cookie. Dietary fiber too low, sugar way too high, protein too low. Obviously, they're cookies.
So what you're saying is that the cookies, out of 5, you said, or no, out of 7.
Out of 7.
you had 5 strikes.
4.
4 strikes.
4 strikes out of 7. So
So
I would generally say don't eat cookies. And I think that's a pretty good consensus. Chocolate chip cookies that are prepackaged, probably not going to be the healthiest food in the world, but it's a good cheat food. I mean, you know, it honestly, the sodium, the cholesterol, and carbohydrates were all within healthy ranges. You're not expecting to get a big protein hit off of a chocolate chip cookie. You know, and it's only 1 gram off on.
I just got done with my 20-mile marathon. I could really use a small
protein boost on these cookies.
Small package of Chips Ahoy.
And so you can modify some of your fat a little bit later in the day. It's only 1 gram off. And so that's what you want to look at is what are these percentages versus one of these cookies
Yeah.
on that total calorie? Because it needs to be 5% or less. So fat on this, I think, was 6% or 7%.
Mm-hmm.
And so it needs to be less than that. Otherwise, it's unhealthy. And that's what you're looking at. That's the category. So all you have to do is you take the calories on that package, divide it into 2,000, and then compare that percentage against all of those items, and that will tell you how many of them don't fit. So you don't need all those numbers.
Right.
But if you want them, you've got them now to be able to determine is anything healthy. So I went through and I looked at some of these items. Would it surprise you that of all of the fries, so I've got McDonald's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., and Wendy's, which would you say is the least healthy and which one would you say is the most healthy of those fry categories?
I would say Burger King is the least.
Okay.
But I would say that maybe Wendy's has the healthiest.
So, the worst is actually Carl's Jr.
Okay.
Carl's Jr. has twice as much sodium as it should. And it has, so all of them, or 3 of these have 4 categories that are missed. Only one of them has 3 categories that have been missed, which is not bad for fries.
Here's a clarifying question. When you're talking about fries and sodium specifically, that's salt. And are we talking about the makeup of how, or the construction of the fry? Or is this like when the 15-year-old just douses it with road salt for...
This is as it comes from the restaurant, not adding anything afterward. Okay, so this is...
I'm talking about the dude making fries.
Yeah, the dude making fries, these are the standard, so the standard number of shakes. I mean, some of these are going to be a little bit off.
3 shakes, not 4. Don't... You're trying not to kill people, are you?
So there are a lot of components that go into this, but this is a medium order of fries. Again, it doesn't matter the size of the fries, but these all come from the medium order of fries.
Okay.
Okay.
So Carl's Jr.
So
is
Carl's
on the
Jr.
bottom.
is the least healthy. Now, again, all 3 of these have 4 missed components.
Okay.
And
At least we can
because
zero in on
Carl's
none of
Jr.
them are good for you, so that's good, you know.
So Carl's Jr. also has a high amount of fat compared to the other ones, and based on the amount of calories that it has, the lowest amount of fiber and protein. So Carl's Jr. by far the least healthy. Now fries aren't necessarily healthy, but and then the next would be Wendy's, and then after that is Burger King. So Burger King is the second healthy. So now at this point, McDonald's French fries are the healthiest French fries. And in fact, I would even go so far as to say that McDonald's French fries actually can be considered healthy. I know.
You'd have to offset it with something. Like,
Well-
you can't just be like, this burger has lettuce on it, so...
Well, and here's why. Okay, so when we look at McDonald's fries, a medium order fries only has 320 calories, which is actually the lowest of these 4 fast food restaurants.
Mhm.
Okay, so relatively low calories, so you're not overloading yourself on calories here. And it has 15 grams of fat. So this is probably one of the worst categories. They all have bad fat. For 320 calories, you need 12 grams of fat. Okay. And so when we go back to those Chips Ahoy cookies,
Yeah.
if we increase those to the same amount of calories that the McDonald's fries has, so those would also, so eating 3 packs of these Chips Ahoy cookies that just have 2 cookies in each pack, so eating 6 individual Chips Ahoy cookies gives you the same amount of calories as a medium order of McDonald's French fries and the same amount of fat.
I mean,
And so you think,
it still doesn't make it healthy.
no, it doesn't. But the McDonald's fries actually has fewer problems with it than even those Chips Ahoy cookies.
Okay.
So we go across no cholesterol in it, which is great. 260 milligrams of sodium. You're allowed, based on that number of calories, 360 milligrams of sodium. So it is 2/3 of your maximum. So you are actually having a lot less sodium per calorie.
But it's the combination that matters at McDonald's. Okay. There's something about their fries. And this is what, I mean, they even say they've done this. They did it with Coke. With Coca-Cola, their brand of Coca-Cola that's delivered to them is different than anyone else's. It is a McDonald's brand. So is their ketchup. So their ketchup that you are dousing your fries in.
I don't know why
your
people
sodium
eat,
is just.
I don't know why people eat ketchup or fries with ketchup. I find that disgusting.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like fries with?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Just a hot
fries.
potato?
Yeah. I love potatoes. I love potatoes. I have so many recipes for potatoes at home.
Really?
I've got like 3 potato-only cookbooks. I love potatoes.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like me some potatoes, and I can make a lot of different things with potatoes as well. I don't have 3 cookbooks. That's fascinating. But
I love potatoes.
we'll have to have a show on that. We're like,
There you go.
today's about.
So, again, we go back to the next one is dietary fiber. So it is only a 0.5 gram off of where the dietary fiber should be for that amount of calories.
Wow.
And so you're actually getting a good amount of dietary fiber from McDonald's fries. It's low in sodium. You're getting good dietary fiber. There's no sugar in it, so you're not overloading on sugar. And it's got 5 grams of protein. For those calories, you should get 8. So it's low in protein, a little bit higher in fat. Again, we're compensating their higher fat, lower protein for the same amount of calories. And so, but again, when we go back to that blueberry muffin, that fat for 450 calories, 21 grams. So it's the same amount of fat as a blueberry muffin in McDonald's French fries. This is what really surprised me. It's like McDonald's French fries. I was really shocked at the amount of sodium because I thought it was going to be like the other ones. So
yeah, I mean, I think about their
Carl's Jr. fries.
Carl's Jr. fries are like this salt powder, you know.
Carl's Jr. fries, 420 calories, so 100 more calories than McDonald's. 850 milligrams of sodium.
Oh, wow.
So roughly the same size, a little bit more calories, but it is 3.5 times the amount of sodium. And that's what really shocked me is that McDonald's fries really don't have a lot of salt in them. Now, I don't eat a lot of salt. I don't eat a lot of salt, so I find them salty. But I know a lot of people add extra salt, and now this makes a lot more sense. Why people add extra salt to their McDonald's fries.
I'm weird. I add pepper to my fries, like just black pepper. I don't know why. Like
I know people that do that as well. But yeah, McDonald's fries does not have a lot of sodium, so it's actually relatively healthy. It has 3 categories that are missed, but the one of the ones that's missed is it's only off by 0.5 gram. So you really are. I mean, add in a little bit of protein powder do a protein powder drink that has no sugar along with some Metamucil, you're covered by eating your McDonald's fries and you're balanced out for the day.
For the day, you're good. You just have fun. All right.
So yeah, so you have your protein drink and McDonald's fries. There you go. And with some Metamucil in there. And you're set.
You're shaking your protein drink there. Oh, you going to the gym? No, I'm heading to McDonald's. I'm gonna have fries. Why would you think I was going to the gym? Duh.
And so this is where it comes to, is it really takes a lot of effort to find out what is healthy. And we cannot just go with whatever people say are healthy or whatever, the industry says, because everyone touts Wendy's fries are so much healthier. But in comparison, McDonald's fries are a lot healthier than Wendy's fries. Mm-hmm. Even though they're not natural cut and not using natural sea salt. Those natural cut fries don't add any more fiber than McDonald's fries that are not natural cut.
I did learn that. I can't remember where I learned this, but when you talk about like potato skin, that potato skin is not one of those things where you're like, if you eat it, it adds more fiber to your. No, it does not. It's no. It gives you a little taste of the dirt it was born in. That was it.
Well, there are a lot of nutrients in the skin of the potato.
Right. Not on a French fry, though.
Not on a French fry. The hot oil has destroyed all of the nutrients. Now, we're just talking, the macronutrients, some of the basic nutrients here. We're not talking vitamin A, vitamin C, all these things that can have additional benefit to you or not having any of these things. So
when it comes to life sustaining, whatever, I mean,
when you're comparing an apple to McDonald's French fries, yes, go with the apple. It is fruit. It has vitamin C. Yes. I think it has vitamin C. It has vitamin A. It has the vitamins and nutrients that you need.
Yeah.
McDonald's French fries don't.
You got papers in front of you here, and we're running out of time. So you tell me what you want to do next.
So we're going to go through. We see on a lot of restaurant menus these healthy items. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I went through. Now, I couldn't find a specific menu that showed these are the healthy options. But generally, it's anything under 600 or so calories that they're calling the healthy option. So I went through the menu. I chose Olive Garden and Applebee's, two of the probably most popular ones here in our area. So on Applebee's list, we have the blackened Cajun salmon. Sounds really good. Sounds healthy, too.
Yeah, I've seen it. I think I've had it.
So 4 of the 7 categories are bad.
Dang it.
So it only has 600 calories, but it has 28 grams of fat, 110 milligrams of cholesterol, and 17, almost 1,800 milligrams of sodium.
Here's the trick that I think that they do is when you get a healthy meal at a restaurant, it doesn't even need to be like deep fried. Deep fried is like, okay, well, we're raising the bar on unhealthy and making it even worse. But you'll get it and it has this nice glisten about it, that it smells good. It's got all this, they've done a really good job of making it good. I'm making myself hungry. It's getting late. So I'm like, man, I could really go for some blackened. but they douse it in like an oil, like I don't know what it is, like some kind of gut lubricant.
Just wait, I got some even better ones for you. Okay, so now we're gonna go a little bit healthier. What we would guess is actually healthy: the house side salad.
Oh, okay, yeah,
okay. Mm-hmm. The house side salad, 3 are unhealthy. 3 categories.
Ooh.
And these are gonna surprise you. So the house side salad, 130 calories, 7 grams of fat, 2 grams of fat more than 130 calories would provide you. Where that fat's coming from, I have no idea. This is not dressed. This is not with dressing.
This is just a pile of leaves.
Just a pile of leaves. They probably put cheese on there or something. But 7 grams of fat.
Croutons?
Potentially. It does have a lot of carbs and diet. I don't know.
I mean, because if it have to have something in there like that, especially if it has carbs.
220 milligrams of sodium. You should only have 150.
There's no dressing on that?
No dressing.
What is in their salad?
And then the next one that's off is sugar. For 130 calories, you should only have 3 grams of sugar. This has 4.
If it has carrots, that's where the sugar comes from.
Potentially.
You're right. Most of those house salads have carrots.
Not 4 grams worth of sugar, though. They're adding sugar to this.
Candy-coated carrots.
Now, if you add ranch dressing to it, it just goes off the charts. 23 grams of fat, 520 milligrams of sodium. the ranch dressing, one serving of ranch dressing for their house side salad adds 160 calories.
I have this friend. We go to this restaurant, we meet, and we just talk and catch up with life. But we both order the same thing. We both order a Cobb salad, and it's like, like it has the egg and it has the sliced meat and bacon and blue cheese and all that stuff, and you put the dressing on it, and it's really good. He's type 2 diabetic, and so like this is the best thing for us at this restaurant. Everything else is just garbage.
Yeah.
And so we're like, yeah, we'll have the salad. Yeah. And I'm like, I'll have the water.
The healthiest thing at Applebee's is the water. So yes, you can have the water when you go to Applebee's.
Hold the ice. I need as much water as I can have.
All right. Now here's the one that really gets me. Steamed broccoli.
Yeah.
Okay. You would think that's healthy, right?
Right.
At Applebee's, 3 of the 7 categories are bad.
Their steamed broccoli is good.
Yeah, because at 100 calories, it should only have 4 grams of fat. It has 8.
Oh, yeah. It's butter and salt.
It should only have
You name
15 milligrams of cholesterol. It has 20.
It
It should only have 115 milligrams of sodium. It has 240.
I'm fairly certain that you steam broccoli in water normally, but these guys, I'm pretty sure it's a vat of steaming butter, and they just steam it over
It's something.
because it's so good.
Yeah, and now you know
Their
why it's
broccoli
good.
is really good.
So moving on to Olive Garden, I did find a few more that were healthier at Olive Garden. The pasta fagioli soup. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
You got to say it like
Fagioli
fagioli.
soup
Roll it a little.
is actually relatively healthy, except when you get to the sodium. Okay, that soup is 150 calories. And so that 150 calories should only give you 173 milligrams of sodium. It has 710. And then it is high on the sugar, but not by much. And so if they reduce the sodium in that soup, it would actually be a really, really healthy food option that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Spaghetti with marinara. Think that's healthy? Spaghetti, marinara sauce.
I mean, yeah, the spaghetti noodles are probably not that good for you, but
So spaghetti noodles actually aren't that bad. But when we look at this, so spaghetti with marinara, 500 calories, 12 grams of fat, you should get about 19. So low fat per calorie. Good. 1,300 milligrams of sodium. You should only have 560.
that's the tomatoes.
No, that's all the salt that they add.
Well, I know they add it to the tomatoes.
Now, this is where we know that it's going to be unhealthy, 83 carbs.
Yep.
It's carbs. So we know that's going to be unhealthy. This is why I say 2 categories in here. Okay, we know that pasta's not going to be there. We also know that a grilled chicken breast is not going to have any dietary fiber.
Right.
And so we want to look at these within reason. So we go over to dietary fiber. You would think with that many carbs, spaghetti, you would have dietary fiber. You should get 7 grams. You're only getting 6. And then sugar is 13 grams of sugar in an order of spaghetti and marinara. It boggles my mind that they can call any of these things healthy. They also have a grilled chicken margarita and an herb grilled salmon and a shrimp scampi, all in that lower than 600 calorie range. And they tout all of them as healthy. None of them are.
Here's one of the things that and you do this in the sense that a lot of the things you've mentioned before, you don't cook with a lot of salt or any at all. And I like to cook. I make my own meals. I make, like spaghetti, let's say, for example. I don't buy cans of sauce. I don't even buy cans of like when it says tomato sauce. Now I will buy like the tomato paste and expand that. But for the most part, I'm using tomatoes that are like low sodium tomatoes, like canned diced tomatoes. That's what I usually base my sauce bases on those. And then I expand it from there. I'll puree that into a sauce instead of using a regular can of sauce. The only reason why is because that and ketchup, they're pretty much identical.
Yeah.
And there's sugar in it. And I don't like sugar in my tomato sauce.
Yep.
So,
but they do that. So one of the reasons they add sugar to tomato sauce is because it's so acidic, you balance it out with the sugar.
right.
Because they don't boil it for long enough.
Yeah.
You need to cook it. I say boil, you should cook it, simmer it for a long amount of time to get rid of a lot of that acidity of those tomatoes. And that's what prevents you from having to put any salt in it.
Yeah.
Or not salt, sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one's real quick, because I know Adam's giving me the glare right now for running over time. This is just going to become a running thing.
I'm going to try to get
the
these
glare
back under an hour if I'm successful, hopefully.
See, anyone who's listening knows who provided the topic idea for each week, whether we are over or under the proposed time that we have for these. When it's one of mine,
Taking back
way
control,
over.
Joe. I'm taking back control.
Okay. So we did a quick search online. What are the best packaged foods? So we see, lean cuisine, healthy choice. We see all these and think, okay, those are going to be healthy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They fall into the same realm of, they just say they're low calories, but then they're high fat, high sodium, high cholesterol, all these kinds of
So
things.
they just hide it somewhere else in the meal.
They do. And so we found two sites. So one of them is called Healthy Packaged Food Options According to Nutritionists. We've already talked about nutritionists not being real.
I'm one.
Evol, yeah, there you go. Evol, frozen butternut squash, and sage ravioli. 3 categories unhealthy: sodium, carbs, and dietary fiber.
Ugh.
Rouse, homemade marinara pasta. 5 categories unhealthy. Cauliflower Foods artisan flatbread style cauliflower pizza crust.
Ooh, I've heard those are really good for you.
High fat, high cholesterol, high sodium.
I mean, I didn't hear it from a nutritionist.
I did find one on this list. So the Bird's Eye Steam Fresh Protein Blends Italian style. So it's like a bowl, or it's a frozen thing that you buy and you can put in a bowl. So it's a full meal. That one only has 2 that are outside of the healthy range. Those are carbohydrates and sodium. Sodium's only off by 40 milligrams of sodium. That's easy to make up for later. Mm-hmm. And so this is one where I would actually say that Bird's Eye Steam Fresh Protein Blend, at least the Italian one, I didn't check the other flavor blends, that's actually healthy. And I would recommend to people, it's only 350 calories, so you could do 2 of these for a meal if you are a big eater.
Yeah.
And you're not going over on anything. Just watch that sodium later on in the day. And then
glass of water. We'll rinse it right there.
Yeah, do something to watch that sodium. Again, it's only a little bit over. If you do that for every meal of the day, obviously it's going to be more. But you can get away with eating 2 of those at 700 calories for lunch, and you're good. Every category is within region. Not too much fat, good amount of protein, really good amount of dietary fiber, low sugar. It's great. So I found another one, best frozen meals for weight loss. Now this one did actually have quite a few more that were within that only 2 messed up. So of the ones on this list, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that only have 2 bad categories.
Okay.
Now, some of those are way too high in the sodium category. But Kashi sweet potato quinoa bowl, too high on the sugar and the carbs.
Okay.
Quinoa, okay, it's going to be high on carbs.
Mm-hmm.
So the sugar, quite a bit higher. It's 4 grams more than it should be. You should only have 7 for those calories, and it has 11. So it makes it taste good. It's the sweet potato.
Right.
So that one actually makes sense of
But
why
you
it's
also
like
have
that.
dietary fiber that comes in with the sweet potato that typically would offset that. Plus what's in the quinoa, that would typically offset it. However, it's in a bowl frozen together for you in a prepped meal that's probably got something else in there as well.
Well, but no, it doesn't. And that's just it. It doesn't have too high of fat. It doesn't have high cholesterol. It doesn't have high sodium. It's actually good for you.
All right.
Performance Kitchen Mediterranean style salmon pasta. Not too high in carbohydrates. I was surprised.
Yeah, pasta.
Way too high on the fat. Too low on the dietary fiber. Fat was the only one wrong with that. So if you do some low fat things later, you can probably get away with eating that.
Yeah.
Now, that's also salmon. So it's good fat. Salmon has the good omega-3 fatty acids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good fat. I'm not going to go through the rest of these, but I mean, we've got here an Evol Foods Balance Bowl. Again, high in fat, low in dietary fiber. Other than that, it's usually pretty good. The important thing is you've got to look at these things because you cannot guarantee that this internet list of 10 healthy foods is going to be good for you. It may not be.
Well, now, on the video, what I'll try to do is make sure that this stuff is up when we're talking about it.
Now, I do want to mention, in my opinion, the best restaurant food you can get. Okay, before we go on to anything else. No.
Okay.
So here locally,
So
there's a restaurant.
Saltines.
No, saltine. Salt is in the name. Come on. So there is a restaurant called Cafe Rio. It's one of my favorite restaurants. It's quote unquote Mexican food.
Sure.
You can't call really any.
They use some terms.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. They have burritos. They have tacos. That's what makes it Mexican. But they have a food item because I've been doing this for years, trying to find really good foods that I don't have to necessarily prep. I want to find something that if I'm last minute, something that I can have while I'm traveling at the office. If I'm really hungry, forgot to bring my lunch, I want to find something healthy. This is the only thing that I've ever found that actually fits into all of the criteria. And so they have a food item, 2 chicken tacos. Okay. And you can have it exactly as it's listed in the menu. And only 2 categories are out of line: sodium and carbohydrates. Sodium is only off by 10 milligrams. So nice. It comes with 1,100 calories. So it's a big lunch, which is good. You want a big lunch. You don't want a big dinner. You want a big lunch. So when you're looking at 1,100 calories, you should only get 1,300 milligrams of sodium. This is 1,310. So, I mean, that one, barely over. Barely over. And then the carbs are high at 168. You should only have 155. That's as it is straight off the menu. That's the beans, that's the rice, that's the lettuce, that's the pico, that's the tortilla, everything exactly as it is on the menu. You make one change and it fits all of the criteria.
Nice.
And that is taking out their seasoned rice.
Okay.
So it's a lime cilantro rice.
Yeah.
Really good. But you can see it adds a lot of sodium. It adds the carbs to there. But once you get rid of that, everything fits in line. It is 910 calories, perfect for a midday meal. So that's 20 or 50% roughly of your calories for the day. So you should have a good portion in the morning, a good portion in the afternoon, very little at night. You shouldn't have a big meal at night because you're done moving for the day at night. And so there's nothing to burn those calories off. And so you want your calories first part of the day, usually at lunch. And so when you look at this, 900 calories, everything else fits. Not too high in fat, not too high in cholesterol, not too high in sodium, just the right amount of carbs, over the recommended amount of dietary fiber. So you're getting good dietary fiber in your food. Low sugar, high protein. Best food ever. and it tastes good.
It is good.
Cafe Rio.
It is one of my favorite go-to places. I don't get the chicken tacos, but I'm going to have to give it a try now.
Everything else on the menu is bad. No, it tastes good. It's just bad for you. I want to clarify that. It tastes really good, but it is bad for you. The one thing I found on their menu is those 2 chicken tacos. Good amount of calories, so you feel full. Good amount of protein, so it keeps you sustained. And it's great. They're not sponsoring this at all. This is just, we're talking about good, healthy foods that you can go out and get. Now, Cafe Rios aren't everywhere, but if you're near a Cafe Rio, I recommend that. If you have a last minute food item or you need lunch or you're traveling, there's a Cafe Rio nearby, go with that. It's good food and it is actually healthy for you.
You know, I think one good rule of thumb in all of this conversation, we talked about, places when you're on the go and you're running around and you're in a hurry and you just have to go get a thing of fries. And you're like, this is supposed to sustain me for the next 3 hours of shopping or whatever it is, ideally what you want to strive for is preparing your own food. I mean, at the end of the day, you are going to see the best success and also the most control of all of this in your own preparation that you can do. And I don't like, some people might do meal prep over, 1 day a week sort of thing. Others might do, from day to day. For me personally, at the end of the day, I like to go home and make a dinner. And so I go home and prepare all that stuff at home. I know that you and I have talked, you do a lot of meal prep. For me, that has some appeal, especially because I'm all over the place every other part of the day except for dinner. And so I need to have something that's prepared so that I don't fall into the trap of French fries or the wrong thing at Cafe Rio, because I'm hungry and I just need to eat something. I don't need to eat something, guys. I told you I have a pod bod, but I could skip a meal or a month.
Now, to add to that, while you're coughing, you can find snacks that fit that category. Like we talked about, the Chips Ahoy cookies. Okay, make some adjustments with some of these other things. You're good. You can find ways to fit in these snacks into your everyday diet.
Yeah, like instead of an ice cream cone, try a broccoli floret.
Well, no, I'm saying you can do your ice cream cone. Just be aware of how much it's adding as a total to the calories. So how much fat as a percentage of calories, how much cholesterol as a percentage of calories, protein, etc. How much sugar, because you're allowed 50 grams of sugar a day and still be healthy. And if you're preparing your own foods that don't have a lot of sugar in it, well, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Go grab that ice cream cone because you're still going to be healthy while doing that. The important thing is do the work and take the effort to write this down. Look at the information. We're not counting calories. We're not counting fat. We're just looking, is this item healthy overall to the total? Because you may only need 1,500 calories. You may need 5,000 if you're a bodybuilder. The important thing is that you're looking at the composition of those calories and not just looking at the calories.
I think one of the things that has been a symbol for health and symbol for a body image, expectations of what you should look like is Barbie. And recently they had a movie come out called Barbie.
For anyone who doesn't know this already.
By the way, if you're getting the news from us, you should probably find a more reliable source. Old news. Now our segment of. So anyway, so this is actually a newer article, most recent. I think it might even be today. But what I found is that there's this 68-year-old lady that she's a grandmother, and her name is Barbara Oppenheimer. And she's become very, very popular. So because of the whole craze, even so much these movies became competitively, like you would wear pink to Oppenheimer because the next movie you're going to see is Barbie, or the other way around, and it'd be like, oh, tonight, yeah, we're doing Barbenheimer, which is like 17 hours of movie. So anyway, honestly, I haven't seen either of them. I've heard great things about them both in their own way, but it is one of those things where for Barbara, it's been an adventure. One of the things is she's the OG Barbenheimer. Like honestly, like I wonder if that was ever a combination before this. I don't know why it would be, honestly, but at the same time,
it is now.
Yeah. I mean,
her new nickname is not Barbie, it's Barbenheimer.
I imagine she's like mic drop at a coffee shop. They're like, "Oh, what name should I put on this?" She's like, "Oh, Barbenheimer." And they're like, "What?" Just the looks when you can confidently, even provide your ID and you're like, "Yeah, it's legit, okay?"
I am Barbenheimer.
Her son bought her a Barbenheimer t-shirt for an upcoming birthday, and he was disappointed because she already bought herself. So
I am glad she's getting in on the action.
She is all over it. Her friends from all over the world, I guess. She's got friends, like that are calling her like, no way is this, like old high school friends. Like, can you believe this? So the reality of this is that her husband's father's third cousin was J. Robert Oppenheimer. And so, you're like, if you know the backstory about Oppenheimer, and if you watch the movie, there's a little bit of detail about it, but it kind of glosses over some of those details. But he was kind of an interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Has a lot of flaws about him, but he's the father of our modern day nuclear war devices. And so
I think you say that to throw a little bit of seriousness in here. Everyone has flaws. We like to think that these very famous people, they made discoveries that they were perfect, but
right.
They weren't.
You're right.
We all have issues. And if that's all we're ever known for, that's really going to suck. We need to look at the positives that they do. Now, nuclear, maybe not a positive, but we use a lot of nuclear power. It's leading us to nuclear fusion, which is a very clean energy source. So all these discoveries lead us to eventual ultimate success.
Man, you just buzzkilled it.
I know.
I don't even know how. I'm gonna try to recover this here. So
Barbenheimer.
If you want to get a T-shirt, maybe I'll find a link.
There you go.
I'll throw in the show notes.
Support Barbenheimer, not the movies. The lady.
I support Barbenheimer. The funds go to a 60-year-old woman named Barbara.
All right, she needs to run for some kind of political office now. City council, governor, I don't know.
Mayor Barbenheimer.
That's exactly what it is. Vote Barbenheimer.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, we have reached the end of our show today. And as always, life is too short. So keep laughing and keep learning. And remember, idiots have way more fun.
Check your shoes.